Good morning. Welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 313 and I'm Lisa, Fiber Nymph on most of social media, and today is Friday, May 17th. How are you? It's been probably about 2.5 weeks since I talked to you last. I recorded the week I was leaving to go to Needles Up and then vacation, and so we have since been on vacation and we got back late Sunday evening, and it was a great vacation. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that during 10%, but we had a really good time. Not too much rain, which is always a plus when you're on a motorcycle trip. And since I've been back, it was a couple days of re-entry. You know how that is. Laundry, unpacking, all that good stuff. That was pretty much my Monday. And then Tuesday, I really started trying to get back into work mode. It took me until yesterday to finally get back in the studio because I had so much other stuff going on work-wise that I needed to deal with and catch up on. So yesterday was my first dye day since I got back, which felt good. Today will be another one. But I needed to record because we are past the halfway mark in May already. I have April prize winners to announce for WIPstravaganza and for the monthly makes challenge going on in the fibernymphdyeworks group, and I just thought I need to not put this off anymore. So I'm taking some time this morning, which it's not even 8 a.m. And can I say how much I'm loving the fact that it's not 8 a.m. yet, but it's light out. I love this time of year. I really do. I'm going to just dive into 90%. I actually don't have a ton to talk to you about because, again, vacation, and I will say I'm finding, after this being my second big motorcycle trip now, motorcycle vacations are really not conducive to knitting. Obviously I can't knit while I'm driving a motorcycle. And by the time the day is over and we get to the hotel or the campground, whichever the case may be, I'm just usually beat and I just don't have the energy. Early in the trip, I did try to knit like a couple of evenings. We were at a hotel the first evening, and I think I did knit a little bit that night, but very little, like maybe a few rounds on a sock. And then a few nights later, we ended up at a campground where it was motorcycle specific campground, which was kind of cool. We stayed at a couple of those this time. But they had a campfire. They did a campfire in the evenings, which was nice. I like doing campfires when I'm camping. So I took my knitting with me over to the campfire ring, and it was dark at that point. It was later, and I was on the gusset decreases on the sock I was working on. Gusset decreases aren't really the best things to be knitting in the dark by a campfire. I did a couple of rounds, and then I thought I dropped a stitch, but I could not see well enough to tell if I did or not. So I just put the sock away. Besides, I was sitting there with my husband and then like a handful of other biker dudes. I was the only girl present, and not that I care. Like, I wasn't worried about what anybody thought. Matter of fact, nobody really even glanced at the fact that I was knitting. I don't think they cared. It was just not a conducive situation to really knitting, so I didn't, and I don't think I even pulled it out again the rest of the trip. And can I tell you a secret? I've been home. We got home Sunday night. Today is Friday. I have not worked on any knitting projects at all since I've gotten home. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I just, my mojo, my crafting mojo is not there right at the moment. My energy and focus, I think, has been funneled in other directions this week, and I will talk about that a little bit more in 10% as well. I'm not worried about it. I did spin. Yesterday morning I spun for about a half hour, but that was it. And I did spend some time on Ravelry looking for a new cast on, because that's the other thing. None of my current projects are really tickling me at the moment. So So aren't you glad you tuned in to watch this knitting podcast that I'm telling you that I haven't knit anything? I do have some stuff to show you, and I actually do have a finished object. But it was a finished object that I finished before I went away. So I'll start there. I don't have these on sock blockers because all of my sock blockers are still packed in my sample bag that I take samples to shows, so they're still packed from Needles Up. But I did finish my Hoodwinked Socks, so yay, I do have a finished object. And I finished the second sock in the car on the way to Needles Up that Friday. My hubby drove and I knit. So yeah, I have a nice new pair of socks waiting for me for when the weather's cool. Actually, I've been wearing socks still. It's chilly up here in the evenings and in the mornings, and I can't sleep if my feet are cold. So sometimes I still do wear socks to bed. Although that's where I'd kind of like to have more shorty socks, because at this time of year I don't really need the full leg. I just want my feet to be warm. But anyway, this was my longest standing sock whip at the time when I pulled it out of the bin. I think I started these back in early 2017. So these were knit out of, my notes are down here, that's why I'm staring down here, the Flying Kettle Caspertine sock base. I knit, the colorway was called Hoodwinked, which is why I'm calling them my Hoodwinked socks. And this is the sock that I was doing in the staggered rib pattern, which you really can't see super well if I pull it apart. Basically, all I did, and I've done this on a couple of other pairs of socks. It's not a pattern I've ever written up. I do have pretty extensive notes in a couple of other pairs of socks that I've done. I don't think I've added those notes to this project page though. Anyway, all it is, it's a 3x1 rib. So I do knit 3, purl 1 for 8 rounds, and then I shift and I do knit 1, purl 1, and then I go into knit 3, purl 1 the rest of the way around until you get to the end and you end with a knit 2. And I do that for 8 rounds, and then I just keep going back and forth between those. So it's a staggered rib, like the ribbing just kind of keeps going back and forth. And it kind of, you can kind of see, like right here is a good place for you to see it. It kind of ends up doing this little bowed thing, like that kind of shape whenever it's on. I don't know. Again, this colorway is super busy, so it's not like you're going to really see the patterning anyway when it's on your foot. But what I like about this is also the fact that when you do this on really busy yarn, if you happen to lose count and you do 9 rounds or 10 rounds before you remember to shift your ribbing back over, you can't tell. And there's plenty of those mistakes in these socks. But anyway, I just did a slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset. That's one of my favorite heels. It's actually my favorite heel, with the traditional afterthought heel coming in second. Not really traditional. This is more the traditional sock for me. A true afterthought heel where you're actually cutting as opposed to using waste yarn. Okay, so these are done. US 1 needles, which is my usual needle for a sock. So they're finished, yay. And that's my only finished object. I did cast on another sock in the car did I cast it on the car? I either cast it on in the car or I cast it on at Needles Up. And so I cast on another one of these shorty socks out of the Summertime Blues colorway. This is my Traveler Sport Weight base in the Summertime Blues colorway. If you watched the last couple of episodes, I think you probably already saw I did a full pair of shorty socks out of this yarn, but I had enough yarn left over that I can do a third sock, so I'm doing this one specifically to have a designated sample sock, and then I can wear those other socks without worrying about getting them dirty or stained or whatever, because once you wear a sock, you really kind of don't want to use it as a sample. At least I don't. But again, I'm pretty hard on my socks. So anyway, I'm knitting these out of on US 1.5s. And on 48 stitches, I did a 2x2 rib at the top, and then did about 1.5 inches of 2x2 rib, and then about just 1.5 inches of straight stockinette before I started doing, again, the traditional heel flap and gusset. So I think I'm still in my decreases, yeah. I didn't have a stitch marker with me, which is crazy because I have like 5 billion stitch markers in my life. So I had to just tie a little piece of yarn into a stitch marker to use. So that is my other project, which again, I worked on it at Needles Up and I haven't touched it since. So the only other thing that I have touched, and this really is hardly worth showing you, it's this same sock, which I don't remember when I showed it to you last. I don't remember if I showed it to you the last time or not. But these are the Matchy Motorcycle Socks that I started on our vacation last fall when we took our motorcycle trip out west. I decided I wanted to make a pair of socks for both my husband and myself out of the same colorway because we both really like this colorway. This is some West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply, signature 4-ply. And okay, I have to look on my project page because I don't remember which one it is. It's one of the bird colorways, which you guys know I love this. Gosh, okay, Ravelry logged me out, sorry. I love the West Yorkshire Spinners self-patterning yarn. All right. Okay, West Yorkshire Spinners, it's the Goldfinch colorway, so number 840. That's the self-patterning part. And then I'm using contrasting yarn, also West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply. This, for the heel, on this one I used Butterscotch, and I believe this is Cayenne, yeah, Cayenne pepper, the red, for the cuff, and it'll also be the toe. Then on my other sock, I'll switch those around, and I'll have Butterscotch for the cuff and the toe, and the red for the heel, just because that's how I like to do things. On my husband's, though, I will probably do the colors the same on both socks because he's not quite as into mismatched things. But this is his, which has not been touched since vacation last year. Like, I knit all of this while we were away last year. He likes ribbed socks, so his is a 2x2 rib, which is why it looks so skinny, because it's just all pulled in. But, again, that saw no progress at all. I was, again, just super overly optimistic, thinking I was going to get knitting done on this trip. I was already on the heel flap and gusset. I was on the gusset decreases when I left for vacation, and you can see how far I got. Like, literally, if I did 10 rounds on this trip, that would have been a lot. So I told Bill, I said, you know what, if we're ever going to get to wear these socks, I can't just knit on them on motorcycle trips. I mean, not like he cares, but like that was my plan. These were going to be motorcycle trip socks and whatever. I think they're just going to end up in my regular sock knitting rotation at this point. Otherwise, we're never going to get them. So, and I love the colors, so I would really like to have them done. So after I finish that sample sock, I may move on to working on those a little more. We'll see. We'll see what I feel like knitting. Because again, I'm not really feeling the knitting bug right at this very, very moment. So let me get back to my show notes. That's it for the knitting, honestly. I haven't touched anything else. Like I said, I did spin a little bit more. This was the first bobbin of the Classy Squid fiber that I showed you last time. So this is what you already saw. I started the second third of the fiber yesterday when I spun, so I've got that on the wheel, but I didn't want to take it off the wheel to show you because it pretty much looks the same as that bobbin. I am enjoying that. I love that fiber. It's super pretty. Can't wait to ply it. I'm doing a traditional 3-ply for that. I did buy more Classy Squid fiber, which I'll show you in a little bit. So I'm excited about that. Other than that, that's it. Like I said, my crafting mojo is just sort of, I'm not sure where it's at right now. I think my energy is just, I'm doing other things. I've been focused on other things since we got back, and you know, that happens. We all have these times where like we just sort of don't feel like doing the crafting. And what was really funny while we were away, like a couple evenings I could have knit, and I thought, oh, I should knit. But then I thought, that's really stupid because I didn't feel like it. I was tired from riding all day. We did a lot of very physical, intense riding. And I was just tired. And I was like, I'm not going to knit. I'm not going to make myself knit because I feel like that takes the fun away from it. This is supposed to be something that's enjoyable, right? Okay, so I need to keep it enjoyable. And if that means just staying away from it for a little while till my desire to do it again comes back, then that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to stress over it. And I give you permission to not stress over it either when you have those times of not feeling like crafting. There, you're absolved. Oh, let me announce our WIPstravaganza winner. I did not do a drawing last month, like in March, because there was like only one post in the thread, but we did have more posts in April. So when I did the drawing for the WIPstravaganza thread, I did for both March and April in one drawing this time. And there were, I don't know, 15-ish posts, I think. 83 to 98 were the posts. I did random number generator, and it chose post number 95, who is El Cristlo, who's Liana, Liana. Liana, congratulations. You are the winner for the WIPstravaganza drawing this month. Your two choices of prizes. You are welcome to either choose up to $10 US in Ravelry giftable patterns, and I will be happy to gift those to you for your prize. So that could be one pattern for $10 or a couple of patterns that add up to $10, whatever, $10 limit. Or I would be happy to send you a $10 gift certificate to my shop, my fibernymphdyeworks shop. So either one. Please PM me on Ravelry. Let me know which of those prizes you'd like. And if you want the patterns, please let me know which patterns you'd like. So, congratulations. All right. I will announce the monthly makes winners once we get to the shop news section. Just so you know. All right. Let's get back to my show notes. The Fiber Exchange and Spinalong. That is also ongoing. We have 8 people participating in that actively. I'm sure maybe there's others of you who are going to be watching along. The partner assignments were sent out quite a while ago now, and today is actually the deadline for you to get your stuff, your fiber that you're swapping and sending to your partner in the mail. So if you haven't done that yet, hopefully you will have done it by the time you see this video. I'm looking for, and again, once you start spinning your fibers, please be posting pictures to the Fiber Exchange and Spinalong thread on Ravelry, because that's kind of the whole point of this, is we want to see how each of you are spinning the same fibers, because nobody spins anything exactly the same. Even if you both decide to spin the same fiber as a 2-ply, it's going to look different most likely, you know? Because everybody's technique is different. So that's going to be the fun part of this. Anyway, if you're participating in that and you have any questions, please PM me on Ravelry, let me know, or email me, fibernymph@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to help you out. There are no other alongs happening right now. And I know I said I would think about one for maybe to start in mid-June. I've kind of rethought that though. And I think I'd like to keep summer low-key, kind of the way we did last year. If you were around last year, you might remember that I decided I was not going to take part in Stash Dash. And for those of you who don't know, Stash Dash is a summer event that Laura and Leslie from the Knit Girls podcast put on every year. Last year, I did not do Stash Dash. I wanted to focus my summer on not so much on knitting and spinning, but on other crafts that I don't always have time to take part in. I think last year I was focused on, I wanted to weave, I wanted to sew, and I wanted to like get out and do more outdoor activities like riding my bike and kayaking and riding my motorcycle, because I was kind of gearing up for our big trip that we took last fall, and I wanted to get out on the road more to get more comfortable. So it was a lot of things like that. And I really enjoyed that. You know, being self-employed, I'm always on. Like, I'm always working for the next show or the next shop update or the next wholesale order or whatever. And it seems like I tend to end up having a little bit of a lull in the summer. And that's happening again this year. Once I get back from Stitches United, which I'm vending in less than 2 weeks, I will have about 7 weeks in June and July that I'll still be working, obviously, because I have Stitches Midwest at the end of July, beginning of August, but it'll be a less frenetic pace. And so I'm looking forward to those 7 weeks to just be able to maybe enjoy some other stuff. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a summer of me again, just for me, because I do have things I want to do. And again, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in 10%. But I wanted to encourage you guys to join in so we can have a summer of us again this year. We had a few people who were, commenting on that last year and shared what they were doing. And I'd just love to hear, like, what do you plan to do this summer that's for you? What is going to make your summer special for you? Because even if you work full time and you're not planning any big vacations or you don't have a lot of time, I just really think it's important for everybody to find a little bit of time to carve out in some way to do something special. I mean, even if it just means taking like an hour a week where you can find to like either maybe go to a coffee shop and listen to a podcast, or go to a coffee shop and knit away from everybody else, or go to a park and walk a trail that you don't usually get to do. It doesn't have to be anything big. I think it's so important for our mental and emotional health. I think it's important that you take time for you too. I know it does me a world of good whenever I actually get to do that. And that's kind of why I'm not stressing over the fact that I don't feel super knitty and spinny right now. I really, really enjoyed having the time away from work while we were away on our trip. I loved being with my husband for 9 days straight. I know sometimes that can cause some tension. Yes, we did have a couple little tense moments, but it was mostly while we were driving and Bill's GPS was not doing what he needed it to do, and he was getting stressed out. But yeah, we had a great time. I love spending time with my husband, and we don't get to do it in concentrated ways that often, like away from home, So that was a lot of fun, and it was really good for my mental health to not have to think about, what yarn do I have to dye tomorrow, or do I have to get this in the mail, or whatever, So anyway, I would just encourage you to please join in Summer of Us. I have a thread up in the group, in the fibernymphdyeworks group already. Feel free to pop in there, tell me what you might want to work on this summer. You don't have to have a huge list of things, but if there's something you'd like to try this summer that you haven't in the past, let us know. We can encourage you. Maybe find some resources that we can share, something like that. So anyway, that's what's going to be taking place this summer in lieu of any official knit-alongs or spin-alongs or any kind of along-alongs, okay? It'll be the Summer of Us, and then come fall, maybe we will have another knit-along. All right. So that brings us to new things. This is more of a conversational episode than usual. I hope that's okay. Anyway, I do have some new things to show you, and like I mentioned earlier, I did purchase some more fiber from the Classy Squid at Needles Up. I love this fiber. Oh my gosh. Look at the color. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful variegated blue. The colorway is Nesta, and it is Shetland Tussa blend. It does not say on here what the percentage of Shetland and Tussa is. I'm not sure on that, but I love spinning Shetland wool. It's a toothier wool, and that's why I'm very curious to spin it with the silk blended in with it, because I've never done that kind of blend before. But I just think this color is beautiful, and it's actually more intense than it's showing up there. Well, actually, this side is more intense. Look at those deep blues. So I bought 2 braids of this, sort of kicking myself that I did not buy all 4 of them that were there, but I wasn't feeling like I needed to spend that much money. But anyway, I bought these 2 4-ounce braids, and then I bought 3 of her cuttlefish bats, which I think is the cutest name ever for a bat. 2 of them are the same. She does not give them colorway names, they're just number 078. But they look like this. And then I would have bought a 3rd one, but there was only 2, so I bought this one, which is very similar, but it's got a little bit of different fiber in it, I think. 069, but the colors are pretty similar. So if you look at that. So my plan, so I've got, these are 2 ounces, so I've got 6 ounces in these bats, and then these 2 4-ounce braids. My plan is to spin for a traditional 3-ply, so there will be 2 plies in this blue and 1 ply from the cuttlefish bats. I know I have, so it'll be 4 ounces of single, 2 4-ounce singles basically, and then 1 6-ounce singles, but I wasn't sure if the bats would spin up the same way as the braids, so that's why I wanted to have a little bit of extra to play with. I don't know how that'll turn out, but we'll see. So I kind of wish I had more fiber because I'm not sure what kind of yardage I'll get. I don't think I'll get enough for a sweater out of this. I could, I don't know, it will depend. But I should be able to get a decent amount of yardage. If I did it as a 2-ply, I definitely would end up with probably enough, but I don't know. She doesn't have, I don't think there's any more of this in her shop. I did look. But yeah, I'm looking forward to spinning that, but it's going to wait for a little bit. It's going to be my reward spinning after I finish the spinning I have on my wheel now and my fiber exchange and Spinalong spinning. Then I will probably start working on that. But I got that, and then that's all I bought. And again, I didn't get to go to Maryland Sheep and Wool because we left on vacation, and I did buy some stuff while I was on vacation, but none of it is fiber related. Although I did get these earrings. Aren't they pretty? I know you can't see them super here. I'll take one out and show you. It's a hammered metal, sterling silver, which I know is not going to focus. Is it? Yeah, well, you can kind of tell that's what it is. But I love these hooks. I've never had earrings that have this kind of a hook on them before. And I thought they were really cool. I wasn't sure if they would stay in well or not, but they do. They don't pop out at all. So they're just different than a regular fish hook. And now I can't get it back in. Somewhere. That's horrible. I have 2 piercings in this ear. I can't get it in either one. Okay, now I'm making a hole. Okay, there. Got it. So yeah, I got those at the Folk Art Center, which is on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Beautiful stuff. If you ever have a chance to stop in there, do it because they've got so much stuff. There were quilts. Upstairs is a gallery. The things are for sale, but it's more of a gallery setup, and there were weavings, really interesting weavings. One weaving, and I can't remember the name of the artist, it was a long cloak, and it had bones, like animal bones in it. It was a double weave, and the animal bones were kind of between the 2 layers of fabric. It was really interesting. I keep meaning to Google the artist and read more about her story. But anyway, yeah, there was woodwork, some beautiful, beautiful, like large pieces of furniture that just were stunning, like mosaic and inlays, and it was just amazing. Pottery, everything. There's just a little bit of everything, and it was just so cool. And then they had a really huge shop downstairs that you could purchase things from all of these makers who are all based in that region, in the, I forget what they call it, the Southern Highland. I don't know. I have a thing. Oh, the other thing we bought there was this little pottery sheep ornament. It'll go on our Christmas tree. I love getting Christmas tree ornaments whenever we travel because that makes it so much fun that, you know, you can enjoy them at Christmas time. And this little guy is probably going to go up. I have garland that we put on the Christmas tree at Christmas time, but the rest of the year I have it up on this shelf above these doors. And I hang some of my favorite Christmas tree ornaments off of there just to see them all year around. So he'll probably go up there. But anyway, yeah, all the crafts are made in the Southern Appalachian region of the United States. So, anyway, I got those. What else? Bought some t-shirts just at different spots. Most of them were related to some of the crazy roads we drove. I think that's pretty much it. I haven't bought anything else. I have since ordered some things since I got home, but I'll show you some of those when they come in if they're knitting related. Anyway, that takes us to 10%. And again, you know, vacation was lovely. It was a 9-day motorcycle trip. We got on the Blue Ridge Parkway. We did almost the entire trip on 2-lane highways, 2-lane roads, except there were a couple small areas where we had to hop on 4 lanes just to get to the next 2-lane. But otherwise, it was all nice rural roads, beautiful, beautiful scenery. We did the entire length of West Virginia basically on 219, which was wonderful. And I'll tell you what, Amy Beth from the Fat Squirrel Speaks, on her last episode, which I just got to watch yesterday, she was talking about when she drove to Needles Up and she was coming south. I don't remember which roads she was on, but she came like from Pittsburgh to where we were in Maryland for Needles Up, and she was talking about the historical markers along the roads and how cool they were, and how you can't stop to really read a historical marker if you're the person driving. And she found an app that basically would tell you what these historical markers said. And it was funny because as we were driving on 219, there was tons of historical markers. And obviously driving a motorcycle, you can't read them either. But I said to Bill while we were riding, I'm like, we have communicators so we can talk while we're riding. Like this. Communicators attached to our helmets that let us talk to each other. I know we have communicators, they're called mouths, but anyway. I said, oh my gosh, I wonder if there's like a website or something that like has a list of all of the historical markers along the United States highways, because I'd love to be able to look some of these up. And I did look for a website, and I couldn't really find a website per se. There may be one out there, and if there is and you know about it, let me know. But then Amy Beth was talking about this app that she found that had historical markers. And I looked for that app, but I don't have an Apple phone, and I think the one that she has is specifically for Apple. But I did find another one. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put it in the show notes. And so I was able to go in after I downloaded that app and look up all of the historical markers that have been logged so far. I think it's one of those ones where users can put in information or submit information. I don't really know how it works, but there were a ton for 219 going through West Virginia, and a lot of them I recognized the names of, and I was able to then look up and read, what they were about. So that was very cool. But again, it was all 2-lane, and this trip was, again, all about the riding. It was all about doing the crazy, twisty mountain roads through, from Pennsylvania down to West Virginia, through Virginia, into North Carolina. Then we hopped on the Blue Ridge Parkway at Fancy Gap, Virginia, and rode it all the way to the end in North Carolina, in Cherokee, North Carolina is where it ends. And then we did the Charhola Skyway over to Tellico Plains in Tennessee. We rode a bunch of roads through the Smoky Mountains. We did a lot of the popular motorcycle challenge-y kind of roads that people will hear about, like the Tail of the Dragon from Deals Gap in North Carolina. Then it crosses over into Tennessee, and then you come back into North Carolina when you come back on it. Which, it's funny, the Tail of the Dragon it's 11 miles long, this section of road. It's US 129, I think. 11 miles long with 318 curves. And it's not the most challenging road I've ever driven, but it's very well marketed. It's more about the marketing. It isn't an easy road because you are constantly doing turns, and like your turns are not just turns, but they're like turns up and down, and like you're coming out of one turn and you're setting up for the next one right away. And one of the biggest challenges about that road is there's people who get out there and decide they just want to go fast. And so you're constantly watching for other people who are not driving safely, who are not staying on their side of the yellow lines as you're going around blind curves. It can be dangerous, but we did it 4 times, and it was a lot of fun, and I did really well. I'm not somebody who enjoys riding my motorcycle fast. Like, speed is not my thing, but I absolutely love riding mountain twisty roads. That is my thing. You know, give me a like hairpin turn that goes down and then back up, that I have to be in first gear and leaning over and then giving it the throttle to get out. I love that. That's my deal. So I had a lot of that on this trip. It's exhausting though, like doing that a lot, because it's very physical. You really have to hold on. You have to be paying attention, like mentally. You know, it was fun. Excuse me. So in total, we drove 1,956 miles. Our total riding time was 54 hours and 15 minutes. My husband's bike that he took has a computer that keeps track of that. So our average speed for this trip was 36 miles an hour. And that is completely indicative of how many small, tiny, twisty, windy roads that we did. So it was a lot of fun. And like I said, we had pretty good weather. When we left here, it was rainy, but by the time we got out of Pennsylvania, it was fine. Until we got to our hotel that night. We got 5 miles from the hotel we were staying at, and the skies opened up and just drenched us. I got to the point where I actually had to stop under an underpass, and I told my husband, I'm like, just go to the hotel, because my visor inside on my helmet kept fogging up a lot, and I was having issues. I needed to dry it out. And so even though I was keeping it open and it has vents, I was just having problems. So I was under this underpass trying to collect myself, but like rivers of water were running down around me. It was crazy. Thankfully, that was the worst rain we had, and it was very short-lived because, like I said, we were just like a mile or two from the hotel at that point. So I did get to the hotel, and all was well. But we didn't really have any rain the rest of the time until the 2 days that we were driving home. Saturday, it rained pretty much the entire day. We never got dry. We never got a dry spell. We were supposed to camp that night, and I made the executive decision and told Bill, like, I'm not camping. I'm staying at a hotel. I hope you'll join me. So that's what we did Saturday, and tried to dry our stuff out. And then Sunday, we had a little bit of rain here and there, but it wasn't horrible. But it was just kind of icky because, like, we were already damp from the day before. Like, our gear hadn't dried out completely overnight. But all in all, it was a wonderful trip. Really, really enjoyed a beautiful part of the country. Oh my goodness. The Blue Ridge Mountains, the Smoky Mountains, all that down in there is just gorgeous. So I hope we get to go back again someday. Bill's already talking about another trip where we'll take trail bikes down and do some of like the dirt roads and stuff. So, but that's not for a while. That's not like an actual planned trip. Our next motorcycle trip will be in September. We're going to do the loop around the Gasp Bay Peninsula in Canada. So that'll be really cool. I will see whales. So yay. Yeah, so that was vacation. And basically, since I got home, my focus has been on re-entry. Monday again was laundry and unpacking and just, grocery shopping because there was like no food in the house. So that was pretty much what I have been doing. I've also been super focused this week on meal planning and kind of getting back into a healthy eating routine. I've talked about this before. Last year was very stressful. Not bad stress per se, but it was just very busy, very stressful. The selling the house, moving stuff, all that. Had a very busy show year last year. And throughout all of that, I put on a little bit of weight, about 10 pounds that never decided to go away again. And I've been noticing a few more wanting to join them, and it's like, okay, I really, really need to just get a hold of my eating habits again, and get back in a healthier routine. So since we've been home, that's kind of what I've really been focusing on, and I think that's where a lot of my creative energy has gone into, seeking out healthy recipes, thinking of creative ways to cook the thing, because I'm also just super bored with what I make. I make a lot of the same stuff all the time because we like it, but then it gets boring. So I've been on a quest to do some healthier eating, and I'm feeling good because I have. This week has been excellent. a lot of new recipes. The other thing I did, and I did this shortly before we went away, which was sort of stupid, and I did it kind of accidentally because it hadn't been a plan, but I joined Noom, the weight loss health thing, diet, I don't know. I don't know what it officially classifies itself as. It's an app, basically, that it's a weight loss app. I mean, it focuses on weight loss, but it comes at it from a psychological perspective as well as a behavior change perspective. And I thought that was really interesting because I've never done one that really focuses on it in the same way. So I did join that. I kind of went into it half-hearted because I'm like, whatever, I know what I'm doing. But now that I'm in about the 4th week of it, I'm kind of like, oh, this is sort of cool. And so I'm almost looking at it as a challenge for myself to really stick with their program through because I think they want you to stick with it like 3 to 4 months to see the initial results. So I'm really going to try to do that, which will be good because it'll be over summer. And it's a time when I usually get out and can be more active outside and everything. And, you know, fresh foods from farmers markets. And hopefully I'll get to grow some food too. So anyway, I'm doing that. And that is kind of my other focus, the outside thing. I just want to be outside so badly. It was so wonderful being on that trip because we were outside riding motorcycles the whole time. We did some hikes. We, just got to be out in nature. I love that. So I'm looking forward to being able to experience that now that it's getting warmer and greener and hopefully less rainy soon here at home, which basically leads me into what I'm hoping to do this summer at least during those 7 weeks of that summer of me. I'll have some time later in August too, but then I'm going to be gearing up for my fall show season. So anyway, my summer of me, the things I would really like to work on this year, or not work on, but like focus on, is like doing the outside stuff that I don't usually get to do. Like, riding my bicycle, riding my motorcycle to do like different sort of half-day trips here and there. Kayaking. I have not had my kayak out yet this year, and it's already the middle of May. That's sort of weird. So I need to do that. I'd be happy to just be outside, like chopping firewood. I'd be perfectly fine with that. I just want to be outside. I was really, really hopeful that we'd be able to put a legit garden in this year, but honestly, I don't think it's going to happen because right now it's still a little too early to put plants in the ground up here in the mountains because it still gets quite cold at night sometimes. The ground is excessively wet right now from all the rain we've had, and so it's not a good time to try to get the rototiller out and plow, and neither Bill or I have the time to do that at the moment. By the time we get back from Stitches United, and we're taking a few days after that to go visit my mom, by the time we get back it's going to be the 2nd week of June, which then is almost starting to get like it's not too late to put things in the ground. There's some things you could, but I'm leaning more towards trying to do maybe raised beds. Last year I tried to do some container gardening, which was not super successful. I'm still putting some things in the pots that we have up here. You can see the building. There's pots in front of that. But I think I'm going to mainly stick with some herbs in those pots, herbs and maybe like lettuces and stuff like that. But I'm hoping maybe I can finagle some raised beds to put like tomatoes and squash and things like that in. So we'll see if that works. I would love to get back to doing some sewing this summer. I'm not sure why that turns out to be a summer thing for me. But the other thing I've really kind of been getting the bug to do is scrapbooking. I have not scrapbooked regularly in years and years and years. That kind of went by the wayside once I started really knitting, so it's been a long time. I do little projects here and there, but nothing major. So I'm really kind of feeling like I'd like to do some scrapbooking this summer. So we'll see if I get to do that. But if you would like to chime in again on the Summer of Us thread that I have in the FiberNymphdyeWorks group, please let me know if you have plans for things you'd like to do this summer, because I would love to hear about them. All right, so that brings us to shop news. I don't have a ton, but I do have the April Monthly Makes prize winners to announce. And let me start out by showing you what the prize options are. There are only 2 prize winners that I'm announcing. One is for the chatter thread and one's for the FO thread for April. But I did choose what did I choose? Sorry. I chose 3 prizes because I always do one more than, no, I chose 4. I'm sorry. I have 4 prizes even though we have just 2 winners because I like people to have options. So the first 2 prize choices are from my Ridgetop yarn collection, which I have 1 skein of the fingering weight, which is in the denim color, and 1 skein of the DK weight, which is the semi-solid color. So this is my non-superwash base. It's a Romney Falkland blend, which is lovely, if I do say so myself. So these are 2 of your options. You can choose either the fingering weight or the DK weight. Or, if you'd rather have something sparkly, I have a skein of my lime green in Bedazzled, which is always a nice, fun, pretty summer color to work with. And lastly, I have this, it's 2 half skeins, they're a set. This was an accidental dye thing. I am almost positive. I can't remember because I did them so long ago. It's a 2-stripe, speckled stripe. So one of the stripes will be the white undyed and the other will be the beach glass speckles. I don't remember if they're even stripes. I don't remember if one stripe is bigger and one is smaller. I just don't remember because it's been so long. But I am 98% sure that these are self-striping because they would not be in this configuration if they weren't. I don't usually do just half skeins of speckled yarn. So they should be self-striping. So if you're up for kind of like a surprise of what these might be for like socks or mitts or something, there you go. And this is my bounce base, by the way. Okay, so those are your 4 prize choices. So let me announce the winners. For the Monthly Makes Chatter thread, which we had posts 246 through 390, random number generator chose post 269, who is PA Knitwit, and that is Sarah. So congratulations, Sarah. PM me on Ravelry. Let me know your top 2 prize choices and your mailing address, and I'll get that out to you. And then the Monthly Makes April Finished Objects thread winner, we had, there were 16 posts. The first one was mine, so I did random number generator from 2 through 16, and RNG chose post number 10, who is RJ Hugs, and that is Rebecca. So congratulations, Rebecca. Also, please PM me with your top 2 prize choices and your mailing information, and I will get that out to you. So, I had already posted the grams update at the very top of the chatter thread, so I'm updating that every month if you're keeping track of your total grams for the Grand Grams Champ prize. That's up there. I believe Maria Seductive Berry is in the lead at the moment, so she's your target to beat. And then, as always, I will do a May Instagram winner at some point this month. I did do an April one. Okay, so that's everything for that. Just a reminder that I do have an exclusive colorway for the Splash Pad Party, which is an event in the Downseller Studio podcast group. So this is Splashes and Pops, my exclusive Splash Pad Party colorway for this summer. All that information can be found in the Downseller Studio group that Boston Jen runs. But these are being dyed to order. The listings in the shop, I'm shipping them out within 2 to 3 weeks after you order them. And yeah, so that's that. Oh, another thing I'll let you know with regard to my Ridgetop yarn, I'm taking sweater quantities of these to my shows, but what I decided to do for the shop is have Ridgetop be a dye to order item, because it takes me a long time to get this yarn in from the mill. I do have another order that should be coming in the next few weeks, but in order to most effectively and efficiently, I think, use my my Ridgetop yarn when it comes in, since I'm only doing it primarily in the semi-solid colors, and I have a set lineup of semi-solid colors, which I have a listing in the shop now. So if you want to see what colors are available on Ridgetop, go to that listing. You'll see there's 22 colors you can choose from, and I'm willing to do, you know, full skeins or half skeins. So if you have a color work project that you only need half skeins of certain colors, you can order those. So all that information is in that listing, but I just wanted to let you know, I'm going to be doing them on a die-to-order basis. They'll ship out 2 to 3 weeks from the time that you place your order, but it'll give me a better ability to make sure that I'm only posting what is available based on the inventory I have of the undyed yarn. And it will mean that I won't be dyeing colors that nobody's really interested in and just having them sit there. So I feel like this is a better option. That might change in the future, but for right now, that's how we're going to do that. So if you are interested in either the DK or fingering, I have that available in both full skeins and half skeins in both weights. You can choose your colors and I'll dye it up for you. I'm not actually going to be doing any specific shop updates until after Stitches United, so probably look for the next shop update to be in mid-June. I may add some things here and there in the shop, but the best way to stay up to date on that kind of thing is to make sure you're following the FiberNymphDyeWorks account on Instagram or the FiberNymphDyeWorks page on Facebook. There's also the newsletter, which if you go to fibernymphdyeworks.com and scroll to the bottom, you can sign up for the newsletter down there if you're not already a member. I send out about one a week, not usually any more than that. And lately it hasn't even been one a week, so you will not be inundated with mail. And then there's the Ravelry page too, but honestly the FiberNymphDyeWorks Ravelry page is probably the last place I tend to post things just because it seems to be the least traveled for that kind of information. But the website homepage also is a good place to look because if there's like new things or upcoming things, it's usually either posted up at the very top of the main fibernymphdyeworks.com page or on one of the sliding banners. So check there. Other than that, like I said, I'm vending at Stitches United in Atlanta, Georgia, from May 31st through June 2nd. I'm very excited to do that. I'm also a little nervous. This is my first Stitches event that I've ever vended. I have no way to know how much stuff I should be taking with me for this show. So I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope that what I take is enough. Because honestly, I can only dye what I can dye anyway, so there's really no reason to stress over it. I'm just going to take as much as I can, and hopefully, if you're coming, you'll find something that you love. I think that's it. Oh, I'm in booth 706 at Stitches United. So anyway, please stop by if you're going to be there. That's everything I've got for you. I need to get busy editing this so I can hopefully get it up today and it doesn't languish. Any questions, if you want to get in touch with me about anything, especially anything shop oriented, please email me, fibernymph@gmail.com. Anything with the giveaways though, you can either email me or contact me on Ravelry, but anything shop related really does need to come to me through email. And any other social media ways of contacting me, those are hard for me to follow, so I can't really promise that I'll be able to get back to you that way. That's everything. I will talk to you at least one more time before I leave for Atlanta for Stitches. And until then, have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.